Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Midnight Madness Chats with Hardman. I've got a familiar face on the air tonight. It's the first band that I've interviewed twice. Please introduce yourself and introduce your band.
Hey, I'm Dr. D, Daniel, vocalist of Chaos Doctrine.
So you guys did an interesting little project, and it's very creative, very experimental. Tell me about what went through your head before you took on this project.
Well, it's actually not just this project. I think it's a thing we do in Chaos Doctrine, especially the past, let's call it 4 or 5 years, where we're always looking to say, let's do something different. Let's play with our boundaries a little bit. If you know us, our older stuff is we're called industrial death metal or industrial thrash metal. And our older music fits into that genre quite nicely. So it's old school, it's got industrial tones, it's heavy, it's often fast. And, it's like I still dig our old stuff a lot. But in the past few years, we've been saying, well, what if we try this? Or what if we try that? Or what if we push that boundary? What if we do clean vocals? What if we, right? So we started doing that with our previous album. And then pretty much toward the end of, while we were working on the previous album, we started thinking about our next EP, which we can talk about a bit later. Our first EP came out in 2019, and it's got like old mixes of songs from the first album. But those old mixes are still heavy. There's like a heavy techno-y vibe. It's like a full-on death metal vibe and stuff, And then we were like, well, let's experiment. Let's do a couple of collabs. And then we were like, oh shit, guys, our album came out April. We haven't done anything new. We haven't put anything else out. So our thought was like, well, why just go back to the album and put out a song? Let's put out something new. And why put out one new thing if you can put out 3 new things, right? So the Sabbath one is new in the sense that it's very different. We've done chapter 1 and 2. Those came out April last year, and we can talk about that. The Right came out on our second album in 2020, but this is a remix, and The Right Verse 2 is a brand new song. So it's also a nice mix, old remixed, something very cool in the form of the collab, which we'll talk about, and then The Right Verse 2, which is a brand new track and a brand new, like, let's try this. We haven't done this, So yeah. Also, our previous track was Heavy as All Shit. Our single that came out in April last year was Heretic, which at the time, probably still one of our heaviest songs ever, blast beat death metal. So we're like, okay, right, let's go completely the other way. And these 2 tracks are slow, they're sludgy, sort of stoner metal, if you want to call it that. But still distinctly Chaos Doctrine, I think,
So I would say it's something in the sense of like Led Zeppelin had a baby with Sabbath. That's the kind of vibe I was getting to it. It's very trippy. Yeah. It's interesting. You guys used a very, I know you guys run your own studio and stuff. You used a very older vintage technique of recording to have that like vintage industrial sound. Still with the Chaos Doctrine, I mean, there's certain elements, the vocals, the drums, the guitars, there's elements of Chaos Doctrine that are so unique that you cannot miss them, which is part of this track. But I want to talk about the mixing of the album. What was your, well, not the album, the three tracks. What was your idea around mixing the songs in that sort of vintage sounding style?
So let's start at the end and work our way back. So we mastered these 3 songs together, so that we can try and get, if you listen to all 3 in a row, so that it's almost like on an album. Because it's Sabbath, we wanted to give it a nice, not quite, a Marshall from the 70s turn to 10 sound, but almost. So with that as the inspiration, we went to the other 2 tracks, So we did the remix first. And like I said, that was on our first album already. But this time around, we re-recorded the guitars. We gave it a much more old school sound. I always want to say mono. It's not mono, but that sort of old school overdrive vibe, rather than what you would expect from us, which is a much more crunchy, kind of like distorted death metal sound. And then when we did The Right Two, we were still in that mindset. And we were like, well, if we're going to be putting a B3 Hammond in this, and we're going to be putting all the stuff together, we're not going to now go back and find the heaviest fucking guitar tone under the sun and chuck it in there. That would make no sense. So to keep that sort of old school sludgy feel, we did that. I think what's important with the right remix, we also, if you go listen to the original track versus this one, we took out a lot of Chaos Doctrine. We took out a lot of the industrial stuff. Like I said, we made the guitars softer, gentler, same riffs, but gentler. Even the drums and stuff, we just held back a little bit because now we have a female vocalist and we have like an harmonica player from hell. So why would you have collabs with these fantastic musicians and then like kill it with ministry, you know? So that was kind of the thinking, you know? If we're going to do this, let's do it properly. I think the right two or verse two still tends a little bit towards our sound more because there's still a heavy industrial in there and stuff. But I think the rest of the instruments pull it back a little bit to say, hey, listen, the band's doing something else here. But like you said, it's still clearly us, you know, which is nice about, I think that's what's cool about, or one of the cool things about Chaos Doctrine is, it doesn't matter what we do, it always sounds like us. If you go listen to Martyr, which is clean vocals, still sounds like us, versus the thrash death metal 200 BPM plus stuff, still like same band doing something else, you know. And I think the magic of that is there's 4 guys, and our rule in the band, we only have one rule, and it's like we don't play a song if not everybody likes it. And I think because of that, it's always going to sound like us. We're not going to go so far out like now we're Linkin Park or now we're Deicide for that matter, either side of the spectrum, you know. So yeah, lekker man, that's how we roll.
So there was some really interesting vocals in the third track, the Sabbath track, where it's almost like a zombie growling in the background. It's fucking brutal as fuck.
In Black Sabbath.
Yes, was that you?
No, that wasn't me. In Black Sabbath, I'm the clean vocal in the middle. And if you listen carefully, the vocal you're talking about is Jazz, the bass player of State Dependency. He was in here with Aiden on the same day. I recorded the two of them together. So if you listen carefully with headphones, especially, that's panned. The black metal-y vocal is panned slightly to the one side, and then there's like a death metal and a sort of whiny, clean sing on the other side, which is Aiden. So I was both like, guys, let's try something you haven't done before. So Jazz was like, I usually do like just growly, screamy. Can I do black metal? I was like, let's try black metal, you know? And it made it so creepy and fucked up, especially when you get there. Because now you've had girls singing and Jamie from Jasper Dan brings this like groovy southern vocal, and now suddenly there's this like evil whiny voice in your ear. I thought, and because it's Black Sabbath, which is probably the most evil song of all time, right? It just worked really sweet. Well done for picking that up, dude.
Oh no, it takes you on like you said, like a creepy like journey, and it's like like this trippy parts, and then it's like this angry fucking evil parts, and you're like, holy shit, what is happening here? So really intense song. You featured quite a bit of artists on these tracks. How did you choose who you want to use, and how did that come about?
You know what? We started this ages ago. Like not the whole story, but like I started doing this in the first iteration of the band, which was 2019, 2018. We started planning this. But if you fast forward, like Bronwyn was in to record The Right with me probably 2 years ago. Because remember, in the meantime, we did an album, right? And we have grown up lives and jobs and shit. So while she was doing that, I was like, hey, listen, I want to do this Sabbath thing sometime. Are you keen? She was like, cool. And then Laura came and did Martyr with us from our previous album. I was like, dude, do you dig Sabbath? Do you want to come do some Sabbath with us? The latest addition was Jamie, because even though our drummer Jason plays for Jasper Dan and for us, Like, I never made the connection in my head. And then one day Jason was like, hey, listen, how's that Sabbath thing going? I'm sure Jamie would be keen. I'm like, fuck yeah, bring him, you know? So it kind of evolved over time. The first person I thought of back in the day when we started this was probably Carlos, because at that time we were playing with Deadline a lot, you know? Buchanan did a track with us, which will be on our next EP, and him and I are tight buds. So when he was in for that first track, he played flute and stuff. So that's coming on the next EP, like I said. I was like, hey, bro, you into Sabbath? Want to do some Sabbath? So I never sat down, or we never sat down and said, let's get that guy, let's get that guy. It was sort of organic, you know. Also, the State Dependency guys, when I spoke to them about it the very first time, we were gigging with them all the time. So, yeah, it's like a 4-year labor of love. I joke. I was like, you try get 10 vocalists together, dude. You try it, you know? So yeah, that's how it kind of evolved. There's a load of people I would have liked to get on, but I would have loved to get you on. But, you know, like then we would still be busy for the rest of our lives. Maybe when we do a Led Zeppelin or a Dire Straits or something.
I don't know if I might be a bit heavy for Dire Straits, but maybe it will work.
But that's what you'll notice about this track. Each track has a clean lead. And there's always like death metal happening on your left and right pans. And that was Alex's idea when we did the mix. He was like, dude, we can't just mix shit together. We need you have to have a clean and a clear central vocal point and supports. And that's just how it panned out. And sometimes it's a girl and sometimes it's me. And, you know, and it just sort of turned out that way, you know.
So
Yeah.
you were talking about the challenge of having 10 vocalists on the same track. What was the biggest challenges other than that, working with multiple musicians and all that, while you were recording these 3 tracks?
Recording was easy, I think, because I've done loads of myself. I record myself all the time. I always say I do it by myself because, you know, the vocal booth is a relentless, scary, merciless fucking place. So I record my own vocals. Sometimes Alec will help me, but he has like almost pitch perfect hearing, so he's very intimidating, you know. Even in death metal, you need to be on key, right? So the recording pieces was easy. I think the most difficult part was what I just spoke about, getting that mix, getting the blend, making the song come to life and saying, you know what, there's 4 people on this track right now. There's 4 voices. How do we get everyone audible? And, you know, how do we give everyone a moment in the sun? So, like originally, I planned to be on more tracks than I ended up on because we're like, if you want to hear me, go listen to the other ones. Let's take me out because my voice is like thrashy and heavy, so I'm killing somebody else. So let's blend it. So took some time, took some panning, took some clever EQs, but we got there, you know.
Yeah, there's a lot of cool harmonies, and I think especially where I listened to the track quite a few times, so I can't remember the exact point, but there was like a screamo vocal, and it was sort of layered with this like harmonic vocal underneath it, and that was quite beautiful. So,
oh yeah, dude. There's really cool pieces like that. Like Laura is a really good singer. I don't know how well you know Capgro. She's got a really good ear, so she would actually sing in a third or a fifth on purpose so we can get like a nice blend. Brannon also, because she's got that, and we'll talk about it, that evil Dolly Parton voice, you mix that with a metal voice, it just came out really cool. Buchanan, if you listen to, I think it's Paranoid, he's got that deep goth voice, you know, that like 80s drony goth voice, which we put at the bottom with a gold voice. It just, I mean, everything in the end, like I think Alec did a superb job mixing and blending all those voices, but it also just worked out okay. If we had 10 oaks growling, like, you know, how are you going to tell the difference? But if you have Carlos and me screaming and Shawl growling at the bottom on a Symptom of the Universe, then you get a really cool vibe, you know?
it's very interesting. I love the creativity behind it and using everyone sort of for their strong points.
Exactly.
We used Laura in a track. Unfortunately, the track was removed from all our streaming services, but she brought such an interesting, sort of like a creepy, I would say, flavor to the song. And she's got this, well, I know if you know Capra Delusion, you know the whole like creepy vibe that they've got. So and it's cool because it's so, she's a fucking phenomenal vocalist. Let's start there. Yeah. So yeah, no, they're great ideas. So let's talk about doing these songs live. Are you guys planning on adding this to your arsenal of songs, for live performance? And are you going to feature artists live?
So the Sabbath one, we've played live a couple of times before. We usually only play the Sabbath medley when we do long shows, like an hour, because it's like 8 minutes, and it creates I don't want to say a lull, but a nice dip amidst our thrash metal, a bit of groove. And people love Sabbath. If you don't like Sabbath, what the fuck are you doing at a metal gig, So we've played that live, but we played chapter 2 live. So if you've checked this stuff out, chapter 1 is us going old school, guitars, bass, drums, vocals. Chapter 2, we took that same mix and we Chaos Doctrine the fuck out of it. So industrial. So that's the version we play live. Got like creepy loops and keys and voice sampling over it. So that we've played a couple of times live. When we did our album launch last year, in April, Laura did the whole Sabbath with me. So she did all the tracks with me. She also did Marta with us that night. So yeah, the Sabbath one we play from time to time, and it'd be cool. I guess when we play bigger shows again, we always say, who are we with? I often reach out to guys saying, are you going to be there? Do you want to do this live with me? But last year we didn't play that many shows. But yeah, definitely something we're always thinking about. The Right, we've played live 100 times probably, because it's been part of our live set since 2019. Now to play it with Bronwyn, I've been nagging her for months, just come get on stage with me. She's like, no, I don't feel like it or whatever. So it's a work in progress. Getting the harmonica player out might be a challenge. He's a funny guy. I don't know how many blues musos but those guys are different, man. But maybe if we play a Pretoria show, we might just get him on stage with us.
We worked with an African jazz band, and like you said, it's weird people, but they're great musicians.
Oh, dude. I'm not even joking. If you know our band members, Phil is a death and thrash metal fan, right? Phil, the calmest thing in Phil's record collection is Iron Maiden. But the day this dude came in and recorded harmonica, he was like, holy fuck, this shit is evil, So I think an harmonica is just if you can play it like a proper blues muso, and Craig, who played with us, he's propers, He was like, I'm not going to do this like poppy shit. I'm into this. And I was like, yes, this song is about selling your soul to the devil at the crossroads. So that's exactly what I want, please. And he delivered, bro. He delivered big time,
No, he definitely did. Tell me why, that you said something now that actually triggered me. Why does Chaos Doctrine not play many live shows?
I think it's a combination of things. Firstly, I've been doing it since 94. Alex been doing it since 92. So it's we like to play shows, but we've done this. Secondly, you've played with us, our stage rig, we bring shit and we carry it ourselves. So it's how often do you want to do that? Thirdly, it's just novelty. If Chaos Doctrine plays every weekend, why would you want to come see us? And then finally, because my number one reason is I prefer studio time above everything. If it was up to me, I'd play 4 shows a year, 1 every quarter, and the rest of the time I do studio work. I love writing. I love sitting down with Alec and writing. I love the past 2 or 3 weeks, it's just been the 4 of us. Jason plays a beat, Alec plays a riff. We're like, holy shit, this could be a song. That's my peak creativity. When 4 dudes just get into that groove, that's my favorite thing. So I love playing shows, but maybe not as much as when I was 18 and 19, And also I think I'm tired of carrying drum racks around.
Yeah, well, drum anything drums is terrible. I fucking hate it. Putting the cymbals up and everything quickly before it's go time, it's cock. But
and dude, when you play a festival, and you've got a 10-minute changeover with our setup, we play industrial. We don't just rock up and plug in. And no disrespect, man, but we don't. In all my previous bands, that's what I did, and it was cool. but that's not what we do. So it's a little bit hard when they tell you you've got 20 minutes to play and 10 minutes to change over. I'm like, well, then I'm not going to do it because it's not worth it for me, Plus 20 minutes is 4 songs max.
Exactly. So yeah, that's a challenge that we've also been facing because we have the whole digital setup.
Yes, exactly. You've got in-ears and stuff which you use. Yeah, same problem.
Fucking terrible. We actually had a meeting yesterday, and I said to my band, "Fuck it, I don't want it anymore because pulling cables all over the place, it takes forever. Then the next band comes, they step on everything. They don't give a shit about your stuff, So I get set up is a bit of a pain. You were telling me about a new EP. Tell me about it. How many songs can we expect? What can we
about 200? No. So yeah, well, here's the scoop, right? I haven't even written the press release for this. So the date, we're preliminary looking around June. We'll see just how life goes in the next couple of months. We released the Chaos Chronicles Volume 1 in 2019. And like I said, it's got 4 songs and a cover on the CD. And each song is an alternative take on a song from the first album. So since then, as we write songs, we're like, it'd be cool if we take this song and we do that with it. Or we take that song, take the vocals out, take the guitars out, whatever the case might be. We've also released some of those. Like we did a Russian version of our song Father Grigory a good couple of years ago. I think it was in COVID. A guy in Russia recorded, he rewrote the lyrics in Russian and he recorded it for us, and it's fucking rad. So we've got a back catalog of alt versions, demos, and stuff. So my first thought was, let's put all those alt versions together, like we did a techno remix of our song Blood Serpent God, and I got Reno from Truth Decay to play a solo on it for us. So I was like, let's do that kind of thing. Let's bring out 5 or 6, and then it's a proper EP. And then we were thinking, but we got all these other cool things too. Like, how about we don't just let's just go all out. So we're going all out, probably be a double disc, probably be in the region of 18 to 20 songs. So yeah, now not all of them, like new songs, no, like The Right To will be on there. These songs that we're talking about tonight will be on there, but not like new songs other than that. There'll be some new tracks, demos, old tracks, demos, and like I said, old versions. So yeah, proper like EP vibes. And I mean, there's a lot of what that does is it gives you a vibe for our entire history and where we're going, It also, I mean, you'll know, man, like when you go to Musica and you buy an Aussie CD and it's got 2 bonus tracks, you're like, what's this? And it says like, Desire demo, and different vocals, different lyrics. There's no bass guitar in there. It's cool. So it's like, I think it's for a Chaos Doctrine fan, a proper fan. So if my dog's then it's, hey, shush. So proper for that, but then also for someone who doesn't know us, it gives you like the full history of the band in 2 CDs, Yeah,
well, you guys are definitely having fun with it. I think you're not bound by any rules, and that's great.
No.
That's a good place to be. Tell me, this upcoming year, going back to live shows, are you guys planning on gigging this year?
I think we've got one live show planned in, I don't know, I must check with Alec. He's busy setting it up, probably April or May. We'll do something for the EP probably around June, like I said. After that, but you know how gigs go. You've got nothing and tomorrow you've got 5. So it's rare that we put up a gig ourselves. Maybe 1 a year we'll put together ourselves. That mostly we get a call and say, hey, we're doing this thing. Are you keen? So at the moment, I'm not sure how many we'll play this year. I'm having a fantastic time in the studio at the moment, but we'll definitely be on stage. Definitely. Otherwise, the other guys, especially Alec, is going to start getting scratchy, Get it out.
That makes sense. What is your timeline for the EP?
Yeah, probably about in June. So we're just checking it with our other commitments like IE work. So you don't want to release something like that when one of the guys has like a hectic month, in their calendar. So also our last album came out April last year. This is coming out now. So give us a bit of time to just think, well, if we do June, what other releases do we want to do before then, if any? So yeah, we always like to keep things interesting. You remember last year before our album, we had 3 months of releases, 4 months, new releases, re-releases, covers. So, who knows what we do this time? Maybe as little as possible so people can wait for a change.
Really looking forward to the EP. I remember the album. Right after the album, we spoke a bit, and you released like one of the heaviest singles that I've heard in my life. This fucking heavy industrial.
Heretic.
Yo, that was fucking insane.
It fucking is, playing that thing alive. Oh my God.
So if there's anything else you would like to add, you can do so.
Maybe just, check out the new tracks. I'm really proud of the Sabbath piece. I think it's the first proper metal collab this country's ever seen. I stand to be corrected. So we're really proud of these things. And it just, again, it's like it's a different side of Chaos Doctrine, So if our 200 BPM doesn't rock your world, check these out. Maybe these do,
Definitely. So check out the new Chaos Doctrine. I don't know, you guys, do you have merch?
Yeah, just get in touch with us. We'll probably do some online stuff again soon. I ran out of suppliers, but yeah, otherwise get in touch with us on the socials and we'll make a plan.
Yeah, so buy some merch, listen to the new music, fucking heaviest, one of the heaviest bands in South Africa, industrial, fucking angry music. Check them out, Chaos Doctrine.
Until next for some old dudes.
Some of the legends in the industry, South African industry.
Thanks, Hardy. Nice to hang with you, bud.
Until next time, I've been Hardman.